This game is not a remake, it is a revamp. I am a OG original Final Fantasy VII fan that played the game when it first came out way back 27 years ago in 1997. I just finished Rebirth a couple of days ago and I still have no idea what to do with myself. I'm having a hard time working, creating art, I'm having a hard time playing other games. This game did something to me psychologically that I cannot explain. Just a little backstory before I get into the amazing visuals of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth late because I had to deal with the tragic loss of a dear friend. That friend was the friend that actually introduced me to the original Final Fantasy VII back in the late 90s. And back then, we didn't have a lot of money, so he had to source where to find each and every disc. We played Final Fantasy like the game was going to be erased from existence. I remember one summer, that's all we did was play Final Fantasy VII. So my friend's death was in 2022. That was after Remake came out. He let go of his gaming hobby, unfortunately, and he didn't play Remake. He got to see it, but he didn't get to play it. I wasn't able to convince him to get back into gaming, to experience what we experienced as a child. Unfortunately, he passed before Rebirth came out. So when Rebirth came out, I didn't want to play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for obvious reasons. So it took a while for me to get to the emotional state to actually play this game. And it did two things for me. One, it surpassed all my expectations that I was expecting after finishing Remake. But more importantly, two, it felt very therapeutic playing this game, a game that my friend didn't get to enjoy. This game does a very good job of drumming up old memories affiliated with each battle, each moment, every NPC, every combat, every boss, the environments. It just is a constant reminder of why I play games in the first place. I can literally credit Final Fantasy VII for putting me on the path to becoming a lifelong artist. It has been a tremendous source of inspiration over the years. Not just 7, but in fact, the majority of Square games. From Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, 10, 6, Mythic Quest, Saga Frontier, I mean the list goes on and on and on. So at this current moment in time, my inspirational cup is overflowing and flooding my house. I am fired up to make more work, and I have to credit that to Rebirth. And yes, I'll admit I am in a gaming hole and I can't figure out what to do with myself, but I will come around. I will come around eventually. So I just want to run down my most favorite things about the new revamped the revamped visuals that make up Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. My favorite things. And please feel free to put your favorite things in the comments section. And if you haven't played the game, I highly recommend playing it. At least watch the trailers. At least. I mean, bare minimum. This is a lot of effort from Square, man. One thing that immediately sent my jaw to the floor was the environments. I don't know how Square pulled this off, but I have an inkling. Final Fantasy VII Remake only took place in Midgar, the first section, and to be honest, I was one of the fans that kind of didn't like the fact that they decided to break up the disc and have different games. But now I am completely on board with whatever they're doing over there. I don't know how Square managed to give me Fallout vibe. You know how in Fallout you end up in the vault and then you walk outside the vault and then there's this big bright light and you're just in awe at this big grand world? I got that same feeling in Rebirth. Walking into the grasslands and looking around to me felt surreal. It felt surreal because I remember the original world map, and back then I wanted that game to look like Rebirth. I wanted Final Fantasy to look as good as the movies and the comics and everything else, right? And cartoons. I wanted it to look even better than that, right? And I actually got my wish. Environments are grand, vast, sprawling. Stop licking your ass. I got my dog right here. The environments are so breathtaking. I like to travel, right? So I've been to some pretty scenic places, and the environments in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth literally captures some of the most scenic, beautiful sceneries I've ever seen. The vastness, the vastness of the wide open world was conveyed so well. Whether I'm running, riding a chocobo, or whatever other means of transportation, I just felt like I was in a grand world. I was in an upgraded world map that I didn't get to experience as a child. So unlike the original world map, now everything is just packed with so much visual detail, from the rocks to the grass to the foliage and the bushes lining corridors. I mean, it is just mind-boggling just how much work Square put into the visuals of the environments. When Cloud is running around, the whole party members behind him. I always wanted that. I remember my friends making fun of me because when I hit the world map, my party disappears, but then as soon as I get into a random battle, they appear. They thought that was lame, but not anymore. Now, all my party, my entire party, is following me around everywhere. And yeah, sometimes they can kind of bump into stuff, and we'll get into that later when I talk about my dislikes. But for the most part, traveling around these environments, seeing environments that I thought I would never get to see in so much detail is awe-inducing. Simply awe-inducing. And it's not just a world map area. This is actually reflected in the interiors. Some of these interiors, I swore I spent a good 5 to 10 minutes just walking around, looking around. And I'm not even going to spoil anything because I really want you guys to play this for yourselves. But I love astronomy, and there's a thing that has to do with astronomy in this game. I'm not gonna say any story or anything, but I'm just gonna show how beautiful it is, because man, I wish I could actually walk into a place that looked like this. I can't believe it. Obi, stop licking your balls. Stop. Good boy. All right, enough. Environments is among one of my top favorite things in this game. And I don't know, I didn't fast travel a lot. I ended up walking, and this probably added to my game time. I spent over 200 hours playing this game, and I barely fast traveled at all. I just love traversing the world in this game. It's insane. The next thing that I absolutely loved about the visuals in Rebirth is the combat. And I know this is an issue of contention between the purist OG fans and regular fans, I guess. But the combat is far superior to anything that we played in the original game. I'm just gonna be honest. And I know, yes, it's not turn-based, but the combat here still has a lot of strategic elements if you actually give the combat system a chance. And not only that, if you really want the game to be more turn-based like and you don't want to deal with the action, you can always lower the difficulty and put it on classic. Like, it's all right, man. It's all right. Like, don't miss out on this beautiful game because it's not turn-based. That's lame. That's lame, bro. That's lame. I don't care. I read so many comments online about it's not turn-based. Listen, man. Back then when I was a kid, that was the one reason why many of my friends did not want to touch Final Fantasy and a lot of other JRPGs, because it was turn-based. These guys were used to playing more action-oriented games, right? And to me, in my opinion, it is more fun. It's more fun. I like dodging. I play other games too, not just JRPGs. I play Elden Ring, and right now I'm playing Black Myth Wukong, so I kind of love action. And I'm not even like a big Devil May Cry fan, but I think the action element here, it actually makes it more interesting. I like the fact that, yes, the combat is more action oriented, but it's still just as strategic as it was back then. Anyway, enough of my little rift. The visuals in the combat are magnificent. The same moves, the same limit breaks and abilities are still reflected in Rebirth. But they're not just reflected and remade. They add to them, right? They add so much. My favorite thing about the look and feel of the combat relates to one of my favorite gaming series of all time, Mass Effect. In Mass Effect, you can pause, issue commands to other party members, and it actually chains together to create new effects. Here, it's very similar. You can pause and you can not just select a action, but you can actually go through an entire menu of different options and different things to do. You still have to assess and attack weaknesses here. And I love that. I love how it looked and felt when I staggered an enemy that thought they were dope and couldn't be touched, and then wrecked havoc on them with the entire party. It just felt and looked so good. So unlike Remake, which I really love as well, Rebirth has synergy attacks. Okay, so I always wanted this. It was something I was a bit jealous of in Saga Frontier and Chrono Trigger. The fact that these party members are actually working together and they're not just three individuals standing side by side doing various moves. The fact that they're working and cooperating together as a party, those synergy attacks work so well. And they don't just work for a combat purpose, but they're so beautiful. They're so beautiful. Seeing the characters that you loved from so long ago working together in a combat move, it is sick. I mean, when I remember seeing this one move I keep seeing. There's this one move that I keep seeing, and it's not just in Rebirth, right? But I think it's anything to do with Final Fantasy VII, and I think it started from Advent Children. Cloud would take his Buster Sword, right? He'll take the Buster Sword and he'll swing it around, and then Tifa with the hot boots will come on and jump on that board, that sword, and use that sword as a platform to then jump even higher for more elevation, and then come down and just land a fat heel kick in one of the enemies' face. It just looks so beautiful. And then even some of them are even kind of silly. Like there's one where like Barrett is with Red 13, and then he like uses Red 13 as a cannonball. I love that, man. I love that, because I would have never thought about having a synergistic attack that looks like that, you know, by playing the original. So this is why I'm saying it's more of a revamp and not really a remake. But yeah, there's just something about fighting as Cloud, you know, doing a triple slash or whatever, and then you just push up on the D-pad and the camera does this really nice up over and up over into the other side motion, and then it's another character, and it happens so fluent. It's so easy to just switch from character to character to character. There's no clunkiness in the visual department at all, and even from just a combat perspective, it feels fluent. Once you get that combat down packed, it is gonna just feel buttery smooth. You know, it kind of reminds me of Final Fantasy 16, and I know a lot of Final Fantasy fans hate Final Fantasy 16 because it's an action game. But once you learn that combat system, it becomes very fluid and extremely entertaining. Okay, so the last thing I want to tell you about the combat that I absolutely freaking loved. I really love how all of the summons are respected and honor the original summons from 97. Whether it's Ifrit, it's Bahamut, Leviathan. I don't think Leviathan is it. Anyone. Shiva. I mean, you name it. You name it. They nailed it. These summons look just how they looked back. Can you stop hitting my camera, boy? Bro, you're gonna have to go. You're about to get kicked out the studio. So every single summon I honestly, I am just floored with how good they did this here, man. I just can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. And it's not fanboyism. It's literally observation. Honestly, this is the number one thing that I love about the visuals in Rebirth, and this also extends to Remake. Visually, it is a near one-to-one revamp of the original Final Fantasy VII. Visual revamp, meaning the characters still look like the characters, but now they're revamped to show more emotion. And I feel like this is so important. Yes, the original the original did a fantastic job of getting you to care about the plight of each individual character. But because now they're represented so realistically, it makes it even more impactful when they're displaying their emotions. My last video was literally a fun video just saying who my favorite remade character was. I had a lot of fun making that video. Go check it out. But it doesn't just end with the main party member characters. It's all of the characters. All of the characters are still true to the original game. And I've seen remakes in the past, and they tend to like completely overhaul and redesign. They'll completely change, right? What comes to mind? One that comes to mind is remember the original X-Men movie? How they wore all black instead of the original clothes from the comics and the cartoon? Like, Square didn't do that. Square's like, no, man, we're gonna stick as close as we can to the original and make it make sense. And I think they pulled it off impeccably, retaining visuals that made the original special in the first place, and making them better. That's a testament. Not just iconic bosses, but even down to regular enemies. And in fact, now that I'm thinking about it, these enemies actually have similar moves to what they used to do back in the original. Like even the weapons, man. Like even the weapons. I'm just like, man. Like, did they stop? Like, are they gonna, like, is everything just gonna be handled with like extreme care and look beautiful? Is everything just gonna be gorgeous? And the answer to that is yes. Even the damn items, man. Even the items are rendered so well in this game. It's actually kind of. It's breathtaking. I don't even know how to, like, how do I explain to you guys just how good this game looks, man? And I know, graphics don't make the game and the gameplay and this and that. But if you appreciate visual beauty, you're gonna do what I'm doing. You're gonna be speechless. You're just gonna be speechless. And I'm pretty sure that happened to a lot of you guys that played Rebirth. Like man. See, it's happening again. This is why I said I don't know what to do with myself. I don't even know, man. Like, I got notes and everything, and I'm still in awe. No, it's hard for me to say a few sentences without ultimately praising this damn game. You know, which is, man, I don't even know. I don't even know. But okay, so the one last thing I want to drive home about the visuals, characters, they feel so real now, man. They feel so realistic. Characters feel so realistic. Like, the ending, I think, is kind of traumatic to OG fans. And I'm not gonna say what happens, but it is traumatic. And I know some people are like, it's not the original story and all this other stuff. But listen, we are fans. Right? I think a lot of fans, they tend to get so attached to the thing they love that they think they should control it. And as a creative, I just can't be on that side. Like, I respect the creator's creation. And I think Square taking a route that they wanted to, that Nomura wanted to take, I think it's honorable. I think they should. I don't think they should just bend the heel to what fans want, because it's not the fans' creation, honestly, unfortunately. I mean, I know we're attached to Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts and a lot of other gaming series. But as a creator, man, it's up to the creator. It's up to them. It's really, really up to them. Like, fans of my artwork, they don't tell me what to make. I make it. And yeah, they have a right to criticize it, but they would never control what I'm creating, because then it's not my creation anymore. It's their creation. So I think it's important that we remember that when we're playing Final Fantasy 7 Remake, Rebirth, and whatever else is to come. Now, I do have a few dislikes about the visuals. Yeah, so like pretty much every game, some textures, of course, are not gonna be stellar, right? Like we're playing on console here, and yes, the PlayStation Pro is coming out, and I honestly thought about, I kind of thought about it, man. I'm like, okay, so I can play Final Fantasy Rebirth and make it look even more, even better, you know? But then I thought, wait. Are you done, bro? Bro, he wants to get in the video, yo. Where are you going? What? You probably see his tail. Oh, look. What are you doing? Oh. You want to be in the video? Bro, you messing up productions, yo. Now it's not even going to be focused. It's not even going to be focused anymore. Look at this. You're going to mosey on out of here. So yeah, some of the textures are not the best. But again, this is a small nitpick. All of my dislikes are very small nitpicks. They did not deter in any way from my experience. But I feel like it's only right to mention them, right? Not everything is perfect. But this game is probably the closest thing to perfection that I can imagine, to be honest. So another thing that that really bugged me, and I have no idea why they decided to go with this, but for some weird reason, when you're in some of the same interiors that I was just praising earlier, when you're walking around, the physics on objects is turned up just a little bit too high. When I'm walking around a beautiful restaurant and I'm walking around and Cloud brushes by a chair and that chair proceeds to follow you around because of the physics trying to emulate real physics, it tends to break the immersion a bit. I remember one time I was just walking around and there's literally like a tornado of table and chairs like following Cloud around the area. and I just kept trying to avoid any like interior objects altogether, but it's almost impossible. But yeah, I think that's one thing that they could have turned down a little bit. Oh, and for the fights, I feel sometimes it is a bit hard to tell what's going on. There's just too much shit going on all over the place. And when I say shit, I'm pretty much talking about the effects. Sometimes it's just too much. When you're in frantic fights, and some of these fights are very difficult, especially when you get to like the hard mode challenges, I wish I could like turn off some of the effects, because honestly, sometimes I couldn't even tell what my characters were in certain fights. So, and like I said, this is a nitpick. It's a nitpick. These are nitpicks. So those two are my biggest issues, and probably only issues with the visuals in Rebirth. Now, my other two are just little rants as me as a gamer. You know what I mean? This is just a rant. It's also nitpicks. Okay, so I did every side quest except for the last side quest. So I'm gonna nitpick about the last side quest. I do not want to be a party animal. I don't want to party that hard. And I used to love a character named Chadley, but honestly, Chadley, I think you're going too far with this whole research nonsense. I do not want to fight your research material, i.e. summons, anymore. I am done. I am some of these challenges, they really challenge you, man. Maybe on my next playthrough, I'll be friends with Chadley, but for now, go to hell, Chadley. Go, just go. So overall, playing something as amazing as Rebirth/Remake, it literally reminds me, it literally reminded me why I play video games in the first place, why I got into art in the first place. As I said earlier, I felt seen as a Final Fantasy fan. I felt like this game was handled and made with care, and it's very hard to put into words, but this is more than what I could have asked for a remake. So I cannot wait to see the next installments of the Final Fantasy VII saga. Final Fantasy Resurrection. That game is gonna be fire. I know I hear some people calling it Final Fantasy Reunion, but man, I ain't messing around with that. But we all know that that's evilness. So from here on out, I'm pretty much just gonna come on camera and talk about the visuals in games I'm currently playing. I want this channel to be a community of people who actually appreciate the visuals in video games, right? People who actually love the art direction and love art style and love beautiful visuals. That's what I want on this channel. So in the comment section, write what you thought about Final Fantasy Rebirth. What do you think about its visuals? How did you feel? Like, were there any memories that got reignited because you saw something or heard something in Rebirth? So for those of you who have no clue who I am, my name is Jabulani Ari. I keep saying that. So for those of you who have no idea who I am, my name is Jabulani Ori, artist extraordinaire, and I love to talk about the visuals in games. If you're interested to see my work, the work that I create, you can head over to my channel, JAHBU. It's just jabu.com. JAHBU.com. If you're on social media, Instagram and TikTok in particular, you can find me at Jabu, JAHBU _ART, Jabu _art. I will be posting the majority of my art content over there. And here we're going to talk about visuals and video games, baby. We're going to have a lot of fun over here. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun, man. We're going to keep it positive. We're going to keep it pushing. It's going to be dope. It's going to be dope. Just trust me, it's going to be dope. And I can't wait to get rid of this big ass mic. I got some stuff coming so I can move around because I'm a motion man. You know what I'm saying? I like to move. You know what I'm saying? We make move over here. You know what I'm saying? We make moves. We make moves, yo. We make moves, yo. So until next time, my wonderful, beautiful people, one love. Peace.